Hi, Skittles. How are you going to be while I'm away? Yeah, Skittles. Yeah, you go give my finger some lovin's. Yeah, you nice kitty. Yeah, you're a good kitty. Yeah, you're a good kitty. You criticizing yourself, kitty? Well, folks, I did Fan Expo back in August, my very first one, and still haven't got done paying that all up, but that's a work in progress. I'm pretty good at keeping things paid off. It just takes a little longer, you know? But I work two jobs, so that'll come. However, Frightmare on the Falls. I was debating whether to do. I wasn't going to do Frightmare on the Falls. I was planning to do Chiller. But with everything going on with traveling to the States and stuff, I'm going to play it safe with that right now, with the U.S. God bless the U.S. I think it's a wonderful country. And I enjoyed the one time I went to Chiller back in April 2024. And they get a great lineup there this year with, or this October. They got Huey Lewis is going to be there. They got an American Pie reunion there. They got a massive, I remember when I went, they had a massive reunion for the Warriors. And rest in peace, David Harris, who I got to interview twice on my podcast, and I got to meet him at Chiller. So sad he's gone. But this year they're having a big Night of the Living Dead reunion there. And I've interviewed Judith O'Dea from that film. However, I decided I think I'm going to do my fifth Frightmare in the Falls. And there was one reason. You see, Chiller's going to have Jerry the King Lawler, whom I wouldn't mind meeting, but how am I going to avoid that light? There we go. However, Frightmare in the Falls got a guest that's been on my bucket list for a while. Yes. One Jake the Snake Roberts. Yes, folks. Jake the Snake Roberts is going to be at Frightmare in the Falls 2025. I have got to go. I almost got to meet him at Toronto Comic Con in 2020, and then the pandemic happened and everything got shut down. So I was like, darn. And now I've gotten the opportunity. You see, Jake the Snake got me into wrestling because I remember I got into wrestling just before WrestleMania 3, the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And of course, somebody in my math or science class had a sticker. They had the 20 stickers in the chip bag. This person just happened to have one of Jake the Snake with Damien, his snake. And I had to inquire. And when I found out he put that snake on his opponents, I wanted to see that. And so it kind of got me into wrestling. I'm not so much into it anymore. But I remember these days, you know, of Jake the Snake. And you know, Jake's always been a favorite of mine, and of course I love that DDT he does. And so I was always bothered. Of course, he's going to be at Frightmare in the Falls with his wife, Cheryl Roberts. And we all remember the feud between Jake the Snake Roberts and Ravishing Rick Rude. And I've seen Rick Rude subjected to that DDT many a times. That was a great feud, and but I hated the WrestleMania 4 bout. WrestleMania 4 to me, you know, if WrestleMania 3 was a great WrestleMania, WrestleMania 4 was a shitty WrestleMania. because they had that tournament for the title. And of course, Randy Macho Man Savage went through 4 rounds to win it. Here's the problem with that tournament, folks. He didn't get to face Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in the second round, because Vince, being a complete asshat that he is, had Steamboat get eliminated by Greg the Hammer Valentine, and Savage, of course, went over the natural Butch Reed. You know, and you had Savage versus Valentine, but I'm like, here's the way I see it. WrestleMania 3 had one of the greatest matches ever between Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Randy Macho Man Savage. And for my money, if Savage was going to win that belt, it was only fitting that he faced Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in a win for that second round. What a missed opportunity and a blunder on Vince McMahon's part there. And I don't want to hear this face versus face thing. You know, like that matters today's wrestling. Nobody knows who's a face or a heel now. But Savage should have faced Steamboat in that second round. However, we're also cheated again, because of course the one-man gang eliminated Bam Bam Bigelow by countout. And then we got 15-minute draw between Jake the Snake Roberts and an opponent he beat numerous times when their feud started, Ravishing Rick Rude. Jake and Rude, they had numerous great bouts. WrestleMania 4 was not one of them. And I bet you both of them, Rude's no longer with us, would attest to that. Here's the thing. We could have had the one-man gang versus Jake the Snake Roberts in round 2. But because Vince McMahon is dumber than shit, we didn't get that. And I think that was a mistake, because I think that one-man gang versus Jake the Snake Roberts would have been... I mean, here's what that second round should have looked like. It should have been Ted DiBiase versus Don Morocco, Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage, and One Man Gang versus Jake Roberts. That's what it should have looked like in that second round. Yes, I'm a better booker than Vince, hands down. The best bout we can get out of Vince McMahon right now is he versus Janelle Grant, and the loser gets their head shit on. If I was a betting man, I'd put my money on Janelle Grant, because Vince is a pussy. Don't believe me? Ask Bret Hart, ask Nails, and if he was still alive, I'd ask Bad News Brown. Anyway, Frightmare in the Falls, coming up, 2025, my 5th appearance at it, and Jake the Snake Roberts will be there along with Cheryl Roberts. There's going to be a big Jaws reunion there. Jaws. Yes, including Richard Dreyfuss, whom I plan to do a photo op with. I plan to do a photo op with Jake as well. There's also going to be a big E.T. the Extraterrestrial reunion there as well, with Henry Thomas and of course Dee Wallace, whom I'm going to do a photo op with. But Dee has been on Python's Paradise twice, and I met her at Horrorama 2018, so I'm looking forward to meeting Dee Wallace again. So, yes, we have Jake the Snake all set. Get him all set here with Damien. Yes, you go put Damien on. Ravishing Rick Rude. And there we are. He's gonna put Damien. Oops, he just dropped Damien. That's not good. He's gonna put Damien on Ravishing Rick Rude, and that'll be the end of that. And he will avenge Cheryl Roberts, and then go embark on his feud with Andre the Giant. A much more challenging opponent, yes. So folks, come to Frightmare in the Falls, and come and meet Jake the Snake Roberts.